You need to stay up out the streets if you can't take the heat. Cause it get cold like Minnesota. Cold like Minnesota.
All right, we're with Grant Kohnen, senior at East Ridge High School. Grant, you and I go way back. I almost want to think I knew who you were before the Squirtacular. Did you play Squirt A's your first year or just your second year?
Just my second year. And
you had a jersey that went down to maybe your knees. Is that a fair assessment?
It's probably true. Probably true.
All right. And that was because you were a little short, but you're not short anymore.
I like to think I'm not.
I don't think you're short. You're not short anymore. I remember seeing you last year at the Pee Wee State tournament and going, man, he's not tiny anymore. He's a grown-ass man. So let's just go through some of those. The first time I got a load of you and your Woodbury crew was in the Squirtacular. You made it all the way through to the finals up, and it was held up in Andover. Go back to your 10-year-old Grant brain and thinking, was that one of the cooler moments at the time, winning all those games and beating all the top teams in the state?
Yeah, I remember us always checking the rankings, see when we were at. We played Osseo, I believe, in the finals, which they ended up to be a pretty good roster. But, yeah, we lost to them. That was a good squirt year.
Really good squirt year. And then your Pee Wee years were – I think you were a state semifinalist when you were a first year, correct, up in Blaine?
Yeah, we got to the semis. We lost in the
That's
semis.
a pretty good year.
Were
the Fisher brothers on that team?
They both were, yep.
They both were,
Sondriel brothers.
Sondriel brothers. Yeah, that was a good team. And then the next year, I think you had – did your brother play on that team with you? Or no, he would have been still a squirt.
Yep.
All right, okay. So, but I think you might have had – Skahan and
Tanner
Hendricks, those guys. Okay, so greatest memory, you were up in Duluth for 3 days. You win the state championship in 2018. What really stood out to you about winning state? Was it the guys? Was it the competition? Was it beating Hermantown? What was real special about that season?
Obviously our group was unbelievable. We had an unbelievable coach as well. Coach Sean was awesome to everybody. It kind of went down like 3 days. It's pretty quick. Game every day, and you just kind of keep rolling and see where you go. But, yeah, we wanted it. It happened fast, but it was an awesome memory.
What did you guys do after the game? Did you guys hustle back to the Twin Cities and celebrate with family, or did you guys stay up in Duluth and just party and rock on for a couple hours?
We were in the lobby at Heritage for a while. I remember that, kind of just talking with people, and then we ended up getting home, and I think we had like a team party that night. I believe it was at Ray J's, if I'm not mistaken.
Some wings, right?
Yeah.
Gotta like that.
We got back for that.
All right. That's cool. Speaking of Coach Erickson, who recently passed, that was last fall. I can remember exactly where I was when Coach Miller called me. I was actually in Dallas at the time, and we chatted for 20, 30 minutes. Where were you? What were you doing when you got the news that Coach Erickson had passed?
I was at home. My dad kind of came down and told us, and obviously me with two younger brothers who were always around him, and I played for him for 4 years.
Oh, yeah, you had him for squirts too, didn't you?
Yeah, so he became kind of basically a part of the family. My brothers were close to him. My brother played with him. So
Blake did.
Yeah, the news was
Grant
crazy.
Did too. I mean, Lance did too, didn't he?
He didn't play with him, but again, he was always around.
Okay.
But yeah, it didn't feel real. People talking about it, and then we were like, okay, well, the funeral's 2
3
weeks,
days.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel real. Obviously, he always had his kids around helping coach with Kyle and Dane and Evan, and Glow was always making us food and stuff. But yeah, it didn't feel real at all.
Yeah, I remember the weekend that I found that out because it was a Friday when I found out. I remember that whole weekend I was just numb. I kept thinking that didn't happen. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. And then I got back from Dallas. Monday, called Mills again and said, hey, Mills, please tell me I was dreaming. And he goes, no, it's not a dream. Because I knew it wasn't a dream either, because whatever tweet I made or whatever, I remember all weekend long, it was just tribute after tribute after tribute to Coach John and what a special man he was. And I know him as hockey coach, right? And good hockey coach. They win a lot. And I know he was always a thorn in my side about his teams always got on the ice super late, right? That was his thing. And like, I became kind of like the, I'm going to get you, John Erickson. You're going to get on the ice or it's a minor penalty. That became our friendship in a good way, never in a bad way. And so that was him. But I did what I loved about his funeral is I learned so many more things about him and the things that he did and who he was as a dad and a grandpa and all those things. What was your takeaway as far as his gift to just hockey or just humanity?
I mean, the way he coached was like, it's so hard to describe, but like just the little things he did that like looking back, it kind of changed like the way we were. We didn't always have like, we were very skilled, but we weren't always more skilled or anything like that. Like he just taught everyone to buy in and do it for like the right reasons. And like we weren't like checking points and stuff like growing up. That wasn't our thing. Like everyone just kind of did their job and we won a lot of games because of it. But yeah, he touched a lot of kids, I know for sure.
Yeah, I did. All right. The reason you're here is to talk about your injury and your rehab and your getting back, going from injured to back on the ice and on the golf course and every other thing. Let's talk a little bit about how you were injured and what went through the injury process.
I was injured during a game.
Who were you playing?
Woodbury.
Also, it was a rivalry game.
It was. Yeah.
All right.
Little friendly fire, run into a teammate. Awkward play. Shoulder popped out.
Of the socket.
I could tell it wasn't right. Whatever went down was not. It wasn't right. I got back to the bench and clicking and all the stuff. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was not good.
And then did you go to the locker room too at some point?
So when it happened, there was like a minute left in the second period.
And what rink was it at?
Our rink.
Okay,
so there's a minute left.
Grove.
Like I got back to the bench, and
you have your own locker room there too,
right?
So it's kind of friendly confines, right?
Yep. I got back to the bench, knew something was off, but like I really wanted to play, whatever. So there was only a minute left in that period, so I just kind of walked to the locker room before the period ended to get in there and just figure out what was wrong before everyone else got in there. Took my stuff off, and I had a bone popping out, and yeah, I was in a lot of pain, but didn't really want the trainer to come by. That was kind of my
really.
Yeah, I wanted to.
So
play,
you were hiding from the trainer.
Yeah, I didn't want like anybody to know. That's why I walked in there early. I was like, I'm just gonna go check it out and put my stuff back on and get back and play.
Okay, so you did play.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you play? So this was early January of 2022. Did you play the rest of the month? Maybe.
No,
No, you got called off right
well,
away.
Yeah, like my coach was like, no way, not with what it looks like. And he played football, like obviously he played hockey as well. So a separated shoulder is very like known. So
right.
With the AC joint looking how it was, people kind of knew, okay, you separated your shoulder, like for sure. It's a 3-4 week thing. So
ride it out.
That was kind of my, okay, I'll get out 3 weeks. I'll be back. Time for playoffs for sure. Like I'll be back rolling. Like it's not the worst.
Right.
So
from there, it gets a little goofy, right? Because after 3-4 weeks and lots of treatments, and you at this point, you hadn't had an MRI, right? Just an X-ray.
No, just an X-ray. Like right away, they saw a separated shoulder. They're like, okay, X-ray just to make sure nothing's broken. Like, and then we'll get you in a sling and get you back in 3 weeks. You'll start PT in a week to kind of get range of motion back and then strength, and then you're good to go.
Okay, so this is the part, again, I'm no doctor, but didn't you say, like, at some point, like, your ear could hit the bone?
Well, yeah, like when I got into
that seems a little weird.
When I got into the locker room, I took my jersey off, shoulder pads off, and I turned to look at it, and it was like my AC joint was like up by my chin.
Right, so is that do separated shoulders look like that?
Yeah, that's what a separated shoulder is your AC joint comes up and it separates. And that's kind of and then the process is you let it sit and it kind of goes back down and then you get your range of motion and strength back was kind of the.
Okay.
That's why it's a 4-week thing. It's nothing too major.
Right. So you get the shoulder back in place, you wear a sling, you do everything you're supposed to, and then you get the sling off, and it still doesn't feel right, correct?
Yeah, it didn't feel great, and
most people most people come back 100% after 4 weeks, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I got back and like it hurt, and I was like, okay, well, it's gonna hurt. Like I'm playing hockey, I'm getting hit, I'm shooting pucks. Like it's probably not gonna be perfect. So I didn't think anything of it. Nobody really did. Like, and for the rest of the season, like those last 8 games I played, I continued to do physical therapy just to like, okay, if it's gonna hurt, like I should keep trying to help it,
right?
You know, and it didn't end up my favor.
All right, so what point then from February, we'll call it, to did you have surgery?
I had surgery May 5th.
So you finished the season.
Yeah.
With a really bad shoulder.
Yeah, I just took a bunch of Advil and taped it up and kind of did what I could. Worked my way around it, yeah.
But in hindsight, because hindsight's 2020, in hindsight, you probably should have just gotten an MRI, right? Or you're just doing what the doctors told you to do, right?
The thing is, like, nobody really thought anything of it. Like, I just had a little pain, and it was like, okay, yeah, that's maybe normal. Like, it's a separated shoulder. It wasn't supposed to be something big at all. So it was kind of just like, all right, you know, play these last games. Like, I don't see it getting very much worse.
Okay.
Which I didn't do anything I shouldn't have.
It didn't get worse though, did it?
No, it didn't end up getting worse. They just found more.
And
was kind of the.
It definitely didn't get better.
No.
Was the pain after the sling came off versus the pain of the first night, was it much less?
I mean, the sling helped, but it also, like, taking it out of the sling after it's sitting in the sling all day, that was the worst.
Pain.
Yeah. Like, once it was out of the sling for a little bit, it kind of, like, warmed up a little bit. It still hurt, but at least it felt good. But, yeah, like, taking it out of the sling was the worst.
Oof, God, no, that's just painful. All right, so what was the day, at what point in this process did you go from it's a little painful to I need to get an MRI and we need to look further beyond an x-ray?
Well, my mom's in the medical field, so she kind of knew a little bit of stuff about it. She knows enough stuff to be able to tell. And, like, by the end of the season, like, my range of motion was getting worse. So, like, I would play a game, and, like, the next day I just couldn't move my arm up. And then I would play another game, and, like, then I could barely lift it. And so, like, every day it was just getting continually worse, and that was, like, the issue. They thought if I had pain and it was, like, steady, that's fine. But, like, it was getting worse, so something was wrong, and there's kind of what they told me. Okay.
So then golf season's approaching, right? So it's like and you're like, could you golf?
Yeah, I tried my best. Yeah, I golfed to the best of my ability.
Yeah, okay. So you did golf, but was it painful?
Yeah, it was. Like
if you hit it 300 yards off the tee, were you like hitting it 200 yards off the tee?
Or no.
Just for ballpark figures. Well, how far were you hitting it?
Like, how far was I hitting it? Off the tee, right around 280, 285.
Okay, so what did you normally hit it?
295.
So it's just a little bit off.
Right. It didn't take too much off. It just, after the swing,
hurt.
That's when it hurt. It didn't hurt during the swing. It was kind of like after. I was like, oh, felt that. The driver actually wasn't the issue. It was the irons. It was taking the divot.
Chunk.
Yeah, like any chunk, I was done.
Oh, yeah, no, but just anytime you take a heavy divot.
Yeah, like.
Not even necessarily chunking it, but just where,
any sort of, like, so
heavy.
off the tee wasn't horrible.
Okay.
Because you hit the ball, there's no, like, friction or anything. Like, you just kind of go through it.
Right.
No, that, like, the divots were the worst. Like, taking iron shots, all that was the worst.
How about the bunker shot would probably hurt, too? No?
I just tried to stay out of it. I just tried to stay out of it.
Listen to you, Mr. Cocky. I remember being as good as you were one day. That was great. Okay, so injury's bad. MRI comes. This is where, like, all the news is, right? Like, the news, like, at this point, it was kind of like, we don't know what the heck's going on. And then you get the results for the MRI. What did Dr. Pepin say?
Well, he told me that I had a broken coracoid. Well, the first thing he told me was good news. You didn't tear your labrum, which is kind of like everyone thinks shoulder, you tore your labrum. That's kind of the common.
Right.
He goes, good news, you didn't tear your labrum, but you broke your coracoid. And that was, like, My mom was in there, and that was like a shot from left field. Like, no, all the research we had done, like, that was the last thing we would have thought.
Really?
That was, oh, yeah, for sure.
So
I thought it was
beat the internet.
Yeah, I thought it was rotator cuff or labrum. Those are kind of the two, like, main things. You either tear in there or something like that. But, yeah, it ended up being a broken coracoid.
All right, so because I don't know what a coracoid is, and I bet you didn't either, tell us what that is.
From what I remember and all the consultations, it is a bone that connects to your bicep and pec, and it's kind of like their anchor. So that's
like the conduit that holds them all together.
Yeah, yep. So that's kind of what it attaches to both of them. I believe the coracoid is connected to your scapula, your backbone. So it's like a notch on there, that's where your muscles connect to, and that broke.
Let's throw the dude under the bus. Who was the guy who ran into your shoulder on your team?
That would be Ben Tauscher.
Okay, so it's kind of Tauscher's fault, right?
No, I can't throw it on him.
I'm joking. I want to have a little fun here. All right, so that won't make the video, by the way. I'm pretty sure. All right, so at that point, how many weeks from, we'll call it the announcement, to the actual surgery?
I believe it was like 2 or 3.
Okay.
I think it was like 3 weeks, right around there, because I ended up playing a couple golf matches. And
really?
Yeah. Well, they told me, like, because I looked at them and I'm like, oh, can it get worse? And they're like, no. And I was like, okay, so I can keep golfing until surgery day because, whatever, it can't get any worse. It's a bone broken, so whatever. Okay. So yeah, I ended up playing a couple rounds of golf and did kind of what I could. But
here you go. I'm gonna do a funny story. Grandpa Grant, tell me about when you were young and you played golf with a broken arm. Right? That's gonna be, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll see.
It's got a sound to it, doesn't it?
Yep.
Good ring to it. Because you basically did with a broken shoulder, maybe.
Yeah, I don't even know how to describe it, but yeah, it was messed up.
That's crazy, absolutely crazy. All right, so surgery happens. This is my favorite factoid to this. Dr. Pepin, who operated on my shoulder as well, does this operation. And how many broken, what is it called?
Coracoid.
How many broken coracoid surgeries had Dr. Pepin done?
I believe from what he told me that the repair I needed, he hadn't done that. Because so like a coracoid, obviously it's a bone you can't see, like you can't cast it. No. So it's supposed to be a bone that heals on its own, is basically like and it doesn't break often. Like you don't hear people walking around.
No, I never heard of it.
Yeah, I broke my coracoid. Like that, it would have to be like a big kind of accident type. Like when we looked it up, it was kind of like,
I was just going to say, what happens
like
when
an
you Google
accident,
it?
Right? Like it's something that would happen in like a car accident or something like that.
Because like only a Tauscher
internal.
Only a Tauscher
could take it out.
Take it out, right?
Yeah,
got it.
It's like an internal thing, so it's not like it's supposed to heal on its own. Was kind of the thing, and that's why like after that MRI, like those next couple weeks, I did more CT scans and stuff to see if it was ever healing. Like, is it healing at all? And it wasn't, and that was like the concern. And then they brought up like, okay, well you've never broken a bone before, so maybe you have like some bone thing wrong where it's not healing right. Maybe you have, a bone disorder or something, something like that. So it kind of stirred up some other things, like, why is it not healing was kind of like the biggest thing. And I still don't know why. It might have been too far away or whatever, but.
So if it's a bone that can't break or can't be healed or casted, what was the surgery? What did they do to the surgery? They put a pin in there probably?
Yeah, they put a screw basically as long as the bone in there, and then he put a bunch of bone grafting over it to kind of bulk it up was kind of the
that makes sense.
Procedure,
as much
from what
as
I know.
Yeah, for us non-doctors, that makes sense. The screw and the grafting totally makes sense after that. I don't know. Okay, so after the surgery, it might be a good idea. Most people, after their surgery, they spend it in a bed, and they probably have their mom pamper them with popsicles and stuff. But most people would do that. But I would go buy a boat in North Carolina myself. What would you do? Pamper or North Carolina?
I'd have to agree with you. I'd go to North Carolina.
All right.
Seems like a good option.
So you went to North Carolina 8 hours, 6 hours after the surgery in a car with your dad?
Yeah, like I can't remember what time we left, like, that's still foggy to me. I remember getting out of surgery, and that was kind of like the first thing I thought about was, okay, well, we're going to North Carolina. That was something that was planned from kind of a while back because it was kind of a long procedure to get that ready to go. And I was like, because I didn't know when my surgery day was going to be. So I was like, yeah, we're still going. Like, for sure, I'll drive probably. That's what I told my dad. Like, yeah, I'll drive. Like, for sure. Even if I'm in the sling, like, I can still drive.
Right.
But it ended up, we had to leave on the day of my surgery, so I wasn't doing any sort of driving.
So in the car, don't you have to, like, what's the post-op look like?
I just lounged back and
that
slept as best I could. It was kind of the...
And that was, you wanted to see this boat that bad?
Yeah. Well,
what kind of boat is it?
It's a Supra.
Okay.
Wake boat.
All right. Oh, wake boat.
Yeah, it's a Supra.
Yeah, and then you couldn't even wake on it.
Nope. We were supposed to down there, but that didn't go down.
But you can't with a.
No. I was hoping my surgery was gonna be the next week.
Then you'd be able to use it at least.
And then I'd be able to go down there and because it was 19 hours. We went to what city? Somewhere in North Carolina.
Okay.
Right by Lake James. I just remember that. Lake James is it's kind of like a Lake Minnetonka type deal.
Okay.
Massive houses. Like, that was kind of the thing down there. And we were going to go out on it, but we stayed in a VRBO right by the lake. So that was kind of our.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How many went?
Just me and my dad.
Oh, okay.
Just me and my dad. Yeah.
Right.
That was, my mom had work and stuff, and my brothers weren't interested, and they couldn't drive anyways. So that was the reason I was supposed to go, is I can drive a little bit. 19 hours is kind of a long, straight shot. So, yeah.
All right. Okay. So after surgery is over, walk through what PT looks like on a bone that just had a graft put on it. I mean, that's not a normal PT.
Yeah, I mean, so PT, I can't remember how many exact weeks, and it's kind of just a rough estimate, but, like, I had surgery May 5th. I probably started PT. They told me, 6 weeks, I remember. I was in the immobilizer sling. Don't ever take it out. Keep it in.
No PT, nothing.
No, that was, leave it in there. Don't touch it. Don't move it. Don't put pressure on it. Leave it in the sling. That was kind of the first 6 weeks.
How did you sleep? The first 6 weeks in immobilized? It's not easy.
Flat on my back. That was the only way to do it.
Did you sleep well?
I slept well. Yeah, I didn't have any issues.
Okay.
The sling held it really tight, so my shoulder didn't move much.
You couldn't turn though left or right? It was straight on your back.
Straight on my back. Yep.
Was there any itching because it was summer? Because you probably got some of that going too, right?
No, it wasn't. The first couple days were, because you still have the pads and stuff on, I don't know what it's called, but all the tape and stuff on there. After that, no. It wasn't. No, it wasn't horrible. I was able to shower and stuff still, obviously. I could take it off for that. But I was supposed to have it on 23 hours a day.
Right.
Yep.
And was it painful taking it on and off?
No, it wasn't horrible. After the first couple weeks, nothing was painful. And that's kind of the issue with shoulder surgery is, for everybody, it doesn't hurt. After the first couple weeks, you feel like you're good to go, and that's where people, make the issue. Trouble. Yeah, that's where you get in trouble because you just want to go back. Yeah,
I had surgery with Dr. Pepin as well, and I had to sit out. Mine was June 1st, so think about all the good golf between June 1st and June 30th. You're just watching it go by, and then and then 4th of July. Then it's okay, now can I go back? Because nope, you can't golf until you meet with me. So we had an appointment. It was July 8th. So it was I just missed 5 weeks of golf.
Yeah.
And then after 5 weeks, he said, you can go chip and putt, but you can't play.
Yeah.
So it was just hard. So how long did you have to wait from your surgery until getting out and doing something relatively active?
I was not able to golf until August 3rd, I believe, was my clear day.
So 2 months.
Yeah.
June.
Yeah.
Oh, no, 3 months.
Yeah,
May 5th
to August 3rd was kind of
90 days.
Yeah. It was long.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then when you clear contact for hockey?
I think it was in that same period of time. It was all based on bone growth. So I would get it scanned, and they would see how much is in there. It was maybe, I don't know, you could argue, was it better it was a broken bone, because then once it's healed, you're good. It's not like a muscle where you have to rebuild. You don't rebuild your bone, that's not something I had to do. So, I mean, I believe I was cleared kind of in that same week, but in that August time, there wasn't much hockey.
There's no hockey.
It's not really.
Did you go skate at all once you got that, like without contact? I would do
well,
that. Oh, wait.
I don't know if Pepin wants to hear it, but I was skating with a sling on. Like I would go to practice and like.
Yeah, he's not gonna want to hear that.
Maybe not. I wasn't. I didn't have pads on or anything, but I just wanted to be on ice.
Have pads on, right?
I couldn't get shoulder pads on.
Oh, you couldn't?
No.
What sling? Like you were down like two hands.
Well, the thing is,
down here like that.
No, I just had my one hand in a sling, and I would carry the puck with it. So I broke my bottom hand, so my right shoulder was messed up. I'm a righty, so I still have my left hand, my top hand. Right. So I was able to stick handle and kind of with one hand was kind of my thing, and then I would shoot it off my knee. And
so you were this. Don't tell me you were at SDP.
No, nothing like that.
Just random skating around.
Yeah, I went to SDP a couple times, but if I did, it was if they were on one end, I was kind of on the other.
Yeah, that's.
And
fine.
I wasn't skating hard. It was basically just giving me something to do because I had nothing to do.
Right. Somewhere just to get out.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe be around the boys too.
Exactly. It was just something to do and to get away from the fact that I'm not able to play right now.
Right. I think he'd be okay with that.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I wasn't doing anything crazy, and we have our school trainer. I don't know what you call it.
Athletic trainer.
Yeah, athletic trainer at the school, and I was doing, PT and seeing her basically every day. That was my coach told me before you, because we skate right after school, obviously.
Right.
He was like, you got to go see her before you come every day, just to check in and stuff like that.
Right.
That was kind of how I started to get back. I did physical therapy with one of the Summit guys.
Okay.
At Health East. That was really good.
Right at the rink you grew up.
That was after the 6 weeks in. I was doing it, 2-3 times a week, PT with him in person.
Right.
And we had an app or whatever that
Yep,
sent me the workouts, and I was able to do stuff at home and did as much as I could to get back.
All right. Talk through working with the staff at Summit Orthopedic. What was that? What are your memories of that? It's still pretty fresh in your head, whether it be the nursing staff, the admin staff, or the doctors or anesthesiologists, whatever. What are some of your memories of that?
Yeah, I mean, I got to know it pretty well. I was in there all the time, in and out, checkups and all this stuff. But yeah, everything went well. Nothing happened that shouldn't have. It was just a unlucky situation, a different situation. But yeah, Pepin was awesome. I went through a bunch of consultations, seeing who should I go to. No one in my family had anything like it. So my mom bounced around with all the people she knew, who should I go to, who should I see, where, and then at the end of the day, people kept pointing to Pepin, he's the guy to do it, and then we met with him, and he actually brought in Dr. Freehill, and they did the surgery together. I think it was because of what was wrong with mine, and he wanted to see it and kind of because it was something Pepin hadn't seen before, and I don't think he had. It was kind of a different situation, so they were like, "Hey, you want to be a part of this?" So
did you know that Pepin has a hockey player?
Yeah, I coach him, Nolan Pepin.
No way.
Yeah, he does pro hybrid.
Really?
Yeah, he was actually just he skated at our youth night. He was out on the ice tooling around and saw Pepin up in the crowd. Yeah.
Small world, isn't it?
Yep.
I knew that from an interview with him that he had a son that was a squirt bee or something.
Yeah, I signed his sweatshirt.
Cool. You did?
Yeah, he came up to me for an autograph after the game. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Okay, so talk about you were there in the office, checkups, all the other stuff. If you had another friend that was injured, would you refer them to Summit?
100%. Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
What was the rehab process like when you went through the rehab?
And physical therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I met with Hildal. He was my physical therapist, and I met with him 2 or 3 times a week. Not back-to-back days was kind of the thing. You got to do it every other day, and I would go in. He would kind of show me a bunch of stuff and show me why. They did a really good, Summit did a really good job, teaching it. And I think that's why I'm able to explain it now. is because they didn't just like tell me to do things. They kind of explained why and showed why. And I would go in there for like 45 minutes and do, little workouts so he could see where I was at, because he was part of the clearing process. Like, I had to get cleared by Pepin, and I had to get cleared by him, showing that, like, okay, he's strong enough, like he's back to normal. So I did workouts with him, and then he would put the workouts into the app, and a lot of it was like he would show me it so that I could do it at home without hurting myself. So that was kind of the PT side of it.
All right. That was good answers there, by the way. I have no idea what you want to do after high school, but you start ripping off some of these terms about the body, and you seem pretty fluent in this. Do you maybe want to get into this side of work?
Not sure. We'll see.
No,
I mean, maybe that just shows how good they taught it. Like, I understood it.
That's my point.
Yeah, they taught it to me pretty well. Like, you got to remember too. Like, so January 6th, I separate it. Like, I started PT then, in January. So I did shoulder PT for a separated shoulder for 4 weeks, and then I had to go get PT. Like, I did PT 2 circuits, so I got really used to it. I basically did PT from, you could say, January 10th to August.
Right.
I was doing PT because I started it in January with a separated shoulder, did a bunch of the PT, and that was with the school trainer, getting back. And then I came back, and I was still doing physical therapy just to keep my shoulder strong. And then I got to get surgery, so I took a break for it for a little bit, and then came back, and I had to do more PT. So by the time I got to Hildal, I was also pretty, like, I don't know, you could say, like, I knew some of it. It wasn't all the same, but I knew a decent amount of what he was telling me.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, by the end of it, I definitely learned a lot.
You had it down. You're actually pretty bright when it comes to, you're not a very smart hockey player, but you're pretty smart when it comes to this bodies and body parts and joints. I'm pretty impressed.
Right.
I'm pretty impressed. All right. We are done with the summit portion of this. Let's move on to some hockey, high school hockey, right? It's your senior year. You've played this kooky game for, 12 competitive seasons or some crazy number like that. This is your last one. You're playing with your brother, Blake, which that's going to be kind of cool, isn't it?
Yep.
Have you had a good time playing with him, or is he annoying a little brother?
It's a normal brother relationship.
It is, okay.
Yeah, there's good and bad to both.
Good and bad to both. Good, I like that. Blake's always been one of my favorite kids. He's just, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but he just seems to get along with everybody.
Yeah, he's a character.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so let's go through. I have a term called section scaries. I've invented it in the last couple of weeks, and there's teams that are 5 seeds or above or lower. That I think could scare the crap out of those traditional White Bear Lake, Stillwater, Hill Murray type teams that always seem to always be in the section semis and section finals and state tournament. And I think your team is one of them. I think your friends at Woodbury High School are one of them. I think Roseville is one of them. Gentry, we don't know because they don't play any of the similar competition. Let's walk through those teams. And you know them all. Have you played Gentry or you know?
We have not played Gentry.
Okay.
No.
Tell me what you know about these guys and why this year's different than previous years with Eastridge and Woodbury and Roseville.
I mean, Roseville obviously got the Stephen boys in, starting with them. So they normally don't have 2 guys who can score 30 goals. So that changed a lot of things. But I mean, I don't remember if they graduated a lot from last year, but it seems like Scott's got them buying in right now and kind of everyone do their role and let the Stephen boys score. That's kind of how it looks. So
yeah, it does.
I mean,
it does.
And
you beat them, right?
Yes, we did beat them.
You beat them.
Yep.
So in the section pecking order, you have a win over those guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a loss to Stillwater.
Two
losses to Stillwater.
We got
so that hurts.
Stillwater. Yeah,
okay.
that hurts. We just
and
lost
then White Bear, where are you at with White Bear?
We're 0-1. We
0-1. You got another one with them, so
Yep.
you could even that thing out if you beat them. And then where are you at? I should know this. Where are you at with Woodbury?
We are 1-0 against them.
You beat them.
Yes, we beat
Okay,
them.
and then you have them again.
Yes.
So there's a lot of meat on the bone still for
Right.
the last 2 weeks of the season. So you're kind of playing playoff hockey
Yeah,
before
playoffs
the playoffs
have started. Yeah, the playoffs have started for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
you're
kinda
not
down.
dead. You're not done. You're not crying or anything like that. But it's still a bigger. If the more you lose, the bigger the hill, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think like obviously try not to look at it too much. Like an opponent's an opponent, but at this point, like we could either be a 3 seed or a 7 seed. Like
Yeah, if you win out, you could be
win a couple games and we're a 3 seed, lose a couple and we're a 7 seed. Like a lot can happen in the next couple weeks.
And the seed, like I said, it doesn't matter.
No,
I mean, I don't
that's the
really
thing,
think
like,
it matters.
No, obviously, like coming to the end of the season, we just want to be playing our best hockey at the end. So obviously, rattling off a couple wins will help. But
Yeah,
I think
confident too, right?
I think even if we're a 7 seed, we still have a shot in that first round. So
I do too. I think this is one of the more fun sections, 1 through 7. It's because I guarantee you those teams, aren't making plans for the semifinals because they know these teams are tough. So that'll be fun. Let's talk Woodbury a little bit. I mean, they're a lot of those kids are the ones you grew up with. Tell me if I were gonna go watch Woodbury tonight, who would I want to take a look out for?
I think their top line, they got Ethan Hansen. I grew up. He was on that Pee Wee State tournament team.
Yes.
So I know they got Grossklaus. He's a good friend with my brother.
He was a Tartan kid, wasn't he?
Yes,
he was.
Yes,
earlier.
he was. They got Cam in net. He was on that state tournament team. Can't forget about him.
Yep.
So Cam's in net.
Carlson, right?
Yep, Cam Carlson.
Was there a Joyce on those teams?
Kevin, yeah.
Kevin, is he Eastridge or Woodbury?
I think he's at Woodbury. He
But
doesn't.
he doesn't play
hockey.
hockey.
No,
All right,
he does not play hockey. He was a soccer player.
All right. Well, speaking of that, you got what's the Tanner Zalnowski. He doesn't even play hockey. That kid was a stud.
Yeah, he was a stud. He's a football.
You know
guy
who else
now.
was a good one? Was the quarterback at Woodbury, George
Magellos.
Right?
Yeah.
He doesn't play hockey anymore.
No. Again, football.
Those two would help both high schools.
Yeah, Tanner and
They could put
George.
skates on today and be in the top 9. Don't you agree?
Yeah. I mean, Tanner quit. I know he was a stud baseball player.
Yes.
Too.
Oh, he quit baseball too?
Yeah, he's just football now.
Oh, wow.
Strictly football. He's a quarterback. So, yeah, he was an athlete. He was an athlete for sure.
Yeah, hockey was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I got off I got excited there and started seeing all these former, these are Pee Wee State champion kids.
Yeah.
A lot of those kids don't quit hockey, and some of them have.
It's crazy.
For cooler stuff, too. Just as cool as stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right, so we talked about those teams. Who's the team in the section that you think will make the greatest waves in the state tournament? Who's got the talent? Who's got the X factor? Who's got the good goalie? Who's got who could maybe you could see making a run? Because I don't think any of the teams in 4AA are going to get past the first round if you look at it on paper. But Jack Erickson could get hot, or I really like Rode, or I like this guy, or who in the section who can kind of maybe take it to the next level and get to the Friday night at the state tournament.
I mean, it's hard to count Hill out. It really is. Like, they have a good goalie. They have a great core. So, I mean, Hill could make a decent run. I could see that. Personally, I think it's White Bear. I think they could make the best run. They're just so deep. They have a whole roster. Their goalie's young, but he's just getting better every game. He's learning. So
Leo Gabriel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good goalie. He's young, but he's learning. So, I could see them making a run.
Do you think the loss in hockey, the despicable loss in Hockey Day with the fireworks going off and all the craziness of that, do you think that might come back to help White Bear?
It could. I mean, I don't know how it's all going to play out based on who's played who, because Hill obviously plays a really tough schedule. I know White Bears had a decently tough schedule as well, so it's hard to compare records. But, yeah, I mean, White Bears definitely got a good, Rhodes a good player.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
I mean, Hill has some great players as well. So, I mean, no matter what, both teams are good. I think Hill has probably the edge on goaltending.
Yeah, a little bit. Just because of experience.
Yeah, it's hard to say he's not better, but so.
I think he's just got more experience than Hill does.
So, I mean, Hill's got you could say, a better goalie, better goaltending
they might
situation.
not be the number 1 seed,
but
though.
yeah, exactly. I mean, they tied Stillwater, and Stillwater's not going to be the top. So, I mean, a lot can happen.
A lot can happen. Well, it should be fun. What are your plans after high school? What are you going to do?
I'm going to keep playing.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So you don't know where yet? You're not tendered anywhere yet? Or
I have not signed anything yet. No, I'm trying to
figure it all out. The next few weeks will tell a lot of that story, won't it?
I'm trying to stay as focused with our season as well. Too.
Right. Then you worry about the other stuff later.
Right. I don't want to get too caught up.
Well, this is a lot of fun. I don't no idea how long this took, but I had a blast. We talked some jerseys here. We talked some surgery. We talked everything. I had a blast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Grant Kohnen from East Ridge High School.
You need to stay up out the streets if you can't take the heat. Cause it get cold like Minnesota. Cold like Minnesota.